Danny's press conference before Watford. Let's see what he's had to say. Hello and welcome to the video. If you could like, share and subscribe to the channel, I much appreciate it. Liking helps the algorithm, sharing gets in front of people's faces, and subscribing let me know you like the channel. Hit that notification bell to let you know when video go live. So Danny said he liked to keep everything as normal as any other normal game week, and seeing what will happen. And he said he's looking forward to once the game's done, going home, seeing his family, and then go see what happens from there. Have maybe one more meeting with the club, and then have a summer, see how it all goes, and see how everything goes. Because everyone knew this press conference that he was doing was going to be all heavily based on what was his future, what was going to happen, how is things going to happen, who's going to do what. So he said, Armstrong might have a knot. He said Mustafa's not trained all week. He also said Iorfa is okay. Akin is out for the rest of the season. Mustafa, congratulations to him and his partner having a baby. So he got to enjoy that and see what happens and him becoming a dad and stuff. He said he'll have like 6 weeks with his family. That is Danny, and then see what happens. He spoke about how he's made big sacrifices for the job, but not just him, his family is as well. His wife having to like do all the kind of looking after the kid, making sure everything's right. You got to remember, he probably sees them maybe 10 times out of the year. So again, when you look at jobs and stuff, especially like things abroad, if that's something very similar he's going to do, if something like the RB job comes up, he may look at that and jump it, even though it was interesting that somebody in the chat who was a German fan said, stay at Wednesday. They love you here. RB's a mess right now. And I thought that was quite interesting to see that kind of level from an RB fan in there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But he said he will be hungry to go again. He spoke about how what he'll take away from his first full year in management. He spoke about how the energy levels and see what he can do going forwards and just try and improve things and be ready to get back after the break and see how things go wherever he is. Now, a lot of the chat, by the way, was going, he's definitely off. We've all had this with a Danny press conference. A lot of the time we've gone, he's off, he's here, he's off, he's off. I think there's a lot of things that need to be spoken to him about behind the scenes before he'll do anything at all. He spoke about like things he liked this season with the late winners, the first game Plymouth, setting that bar high and then it kind of tailing off. And he spoke about how the players he's improved, like Beadle, Max, Gab, how they've all really improved. Kasama started off slow but got better. He said Shea just Shea in a sense, really. But he said he doesn't want to single out just a single player. It's like the team. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. He said what was different in the first game versus Watford and to now, what things like he had to ask Neil for make a sub because he wasn't too sure who was who. But he liked to keep learning, and I think that's good to hear. The fans was a big factor in him coming up well, and when they first started singing his name and doing all the stuff that our fans do, it made him feel at home, so it made him feel ready to go. And he said he'll see what happens with the club. And he basically said how it's open at the minute. Everything's open to see what will happen. And I think there's going to be things where we get asked and if things get done behind the scenes, if he's going to stay. Now, here's the stupid thing. We're saying that, but he's in contract till 2027. If somebody wants him, he will have to be bought out unless something changes. But he's putting that all behind him. He's not thinking that he's concentrating on the last game, and he said he'll see what will happen and see how everything goes forward. He said how he enjoyed the game as well. He felt how he's getting better, and I think he's enjoyed being at Sheffield Wednesday and how the games are improving him. He said having to change from different levels and how they changed a lot in games, and he likes how we're not predictable. and how you can't really have a way of getting at us. You have to be really intrigued to how we play, because the way we set up, we don't set one way or another. And he kind of looks at the season and goes of what we got, and just some of the games where we've done so well and play really good football at home and then just come away with nothing. And it just like, it shows that he's got multiple plans and he's really the J things, which I like. But about data, and Base said, yeah, the data's there, but you can't always just go on data. He used an example in Bundesliga where two teams were 4-4 at half time and the XG were 0. Whatever to 0. Whatever. They were really low, but you can use it to a bit, but don't heavily rely on it. He got feedback from players about what could be best going forward and how he could do and what they would like to see going forward as well. And it's interesting. This press conference was so interesting because there were times where he started to make it sound like he was staying, and there were times where he started saying like he was going. You want to make wants a direction how we play going forward and see if we can do that and change things with that. He felt they got asked about a director of football, a sporting director, and he said, look, if you've got a manager, you do it all, but sometimes having a director of football, sporting director, they help you get things doing, and you can then concentrate on the football side. But he's like you said, he's always had it in other jobs. He's at German clubs, at Southampton. It's always been there. He spoke about the recommendation to the chairman and the recruitment team. Said it needs to be happening in the next couple of weeks, and it needs to be quick decision going forward, so we're ready to start the new season. He thinks it will be another lively transfer window as well, with multiple players out of contract. But he also spoke about how there's some players that they'll want to keep. There's some players that want to leave. He did actually say that. And some players who have to leave because the contract is out. So it'll be interesting. Talk about how Watford done and how Watford have probably tailed off in the second half of the season, not really been there or thereabouts. And then he just spoke about how he got a lot of things to think about with the question. He said he's calm, he's going to look forward and see what happens next season, and see how it all goes, because that's all we can do. And I think the best thing I can say on this one is we'll see what happens. I think with the whole situation with Danny and everything else, it's a case of going, let's just see what happens, because we know what the club is like. We know what the owner is like. And we had this all last summer where we're like, is he staying? Is he going? Is he staying? Is he going? Let's give him some couple of weeks off with his family, enjoy time with family. But if we are going to have it where it does happen, I'd like us to know a little bit, or the club, not us as per se, but the club know that it's going to happen early doors, or if some things are going to get promised to Danny, that it gets done ASAP so we can start planning for next season ready. And I think that's the bit that annoys me about this situation we're in right now. We should be in a stage where we're going, we finished mid-table, we're going to see what happens, we're planning for next season, and we'll see where it'll be. Yet we can't have that security or that idea with that as fans, because everything gets thrown up there. It's always short-term thinking. And I like to see the long-term thinking going a bit further forward, but we'll see. A lot of things could happen in the summer. I thought Danny, you could tell Danny was getting a bit annoyed with asking about future stuff again, but that's going to happen. With everything that's going on, the speculation around him, it's just going to happen. Sadly, it was going to be inevitable. But that was Danny's press conference. Could it be the last one he does before a match? Who knows? If it is, so be it. We move on. We say thank you for the work you've done in the last 18 months. If it's not, we move on. We carry on as normal. But until we have a clarification and some sort of say, it'll be interesting to see. So hopefully, touch wood, we'll find stuff out sooner than later and go from there. But at the end of the day, Danny's done his press conference. Lots of questions about his future. And we go from there and we see what happens at the weekend after Watford.